I want to talk today about one of the biggest misconceptions that I see when I talk to academics who are thinking seriously about writing a trade book, and that is timing. When is the right time to write a trade book? When should I start thinking about this? What is the right time? I have sabbatical coming up. I have another semester of this and that, and I have leave, and then I want to go and do the research. I don't know. I think I'll do this next year, or maybe should I start now? What is the best time for me to be seriously starting to think about a trade book? I'm going to let you in on a little secret, which is that actually the way that academics typically think about these is literally backwards, literally opposite to the way that we think about these things in trade. My name is John Gazvinian. You're with Scholars to Storytellers, where we help academics get from a concept to an agent-ready proposal in a short amount of time, helping academics reach wider audiences and write trade books, get agents, and secure wider deals to publish books with major commercial publishers that reach wide audiences. If you're not already familiar with our stuff, just check us out, www.scholarstostorytellers.com. So let's talk about timing. This is something that always breaks my heart a little bit, is that every now and then I'll talk to someone who has a tremendous idea that works just perfectly as a trade book, but they've already done half the research for it, or they've already written several chapters, or God forbid, they've actually finished the book and they're like, I think I want this to be a trade book now. I want to really caution you about that way of thinking. A lot of times academics will say, I want to write a trade book, when what they really mean is, I want to write the same kind of book I've always been writing and then just have more people read it. And that is not a trade book. A trade book is born at the inception, at the ideation stage, at the creative stage. The perfect time, the time when a trade book is really born, is when you've just finished a project and you're just starting to think about what you might want to do next. Now, let me pause here. Does that mean that if you are halfway through a project, or if you've done a bunch of research, or you've written a couple of chapters, that it's, quote, too late, that you can't work with us, or forget about working with us, that you can't go out and try to find an agent or write a trade book? Absolutely not. The point of this is not, I always feel like this is about getting the balance right. Because sometimes when I say what I'm about to say, people go, oh, well, that's it. It's too late for me. No, it's not. I'm not saying it's too late for you. I'm just saying that don't make the mistake of feeling you have to get deep into a project before you start thinking about it as a trade book. Let me explain what I mean by that. So there's no perfect time. There's no wrong time. Let me put it that way. There's no wrong time to be thinking about a trade book. But there are some times where it's better than others. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think the key mentality shift you have to make, the thing that I often feel like is a kind of light bulb that goes on with people when they're actually successful at writing for trade, and when they finally kind of get it, is recognizing that the sales part of this process, the part where you sell yourself and your ideas to publishers, with trade is front loaded. Whereas with academic writing, it is back loaded. Let me explain what I mean by that. Typical academic book publishing, right? You spend years doing research, you go out and do field work, you do archival work, whatever it is, and then you spend another year and a half writing the book, and then you have this whole monograph, and then you go shopping it around to publishers, right? And then what do? They send it out for peer review, and they slap a jacket on it, and they publish it, which is pretty much what a lot of university presses do these days, let's be honest. That is a back-loaded sales process. In other words, you do all the work, you write the book, and then at the end, you try to sell it. Trade publishing, the sales process is front-loaded. What that means is that you are selling the concept before you've actually written the book. What? Yeah, I know. That often tends to throw people off, because in academia, you're like, well, how do we know the book is any good? In trade, it works differently. What they're looking for, remember, is a great concept and great writing. They trust you. They trust that you're a scholar. They trust that you know what you're doing, that the book will be quality scholarship. They're not worried about that. They want to know that you can conceptualize your ideas really well for the general public and write and communicate those ideas well. And to do that, all you need is a proposal and a writing sample. The proposal shows them that you've conceptualized the idea well, that you've thought about how to position this in the marketplace and how to sell it to a general reader. The writing sample shows them that you know how to write. So what you end up doing, and this sometimes confuses people and frustrates people, but at its best, it actually liberates people, which is that you realize that from the very beginning, this is a dialectical conversation that you're having with people like me, with people like our senior coaches on our team, or with agents, with publishers, whatever it is, with developmental editors, whoever you choose to hire. I don't care if you hire us or not. But the point is that you have people working with you to shape your ideas before you've even done any real research or writing. That is a paradigm shift that sometimes people are surprised by, but once they get it, they're like, that's really cool. So I have people who are like helping me shape my ideas from the beginning, people who have worked in publishing for 20 years, who know how to produce a great book and sell a great book, working with me as a creative partner from the very beginning. In fact, I'm going to just be honest, it's if you go out and do a bunch of research and write a book and then dump it on the desk of a trade publisher, they're going to be a little bit insulted because you've basically removed them from the opportunity to help you shape your book. That's just not how trade publishing works. And even if they're not insulted, I'm going to tell you there's probably a 95% chance they're going to reject your manuscript because you've already written it with a certain way of thinking and a certain academic kind of approach. And the odds that they're going to look at that and go, wow, this is great, this is a trade book, we want to publish it, is extremely low. So we want to basically intervene with you very early on so that we make sure that from the very beginning, you're thinking about your ideas in a tradey kind of way, right? So how does this relate to timing? The best time to actually start thinking about this. The bottom line with this is it's never too early. It is literally never too early to start thinking about your trade book. If you are sitting there thinking, I have a couple of ideas, I'm not really sure if they could work or not, that is exactly the point at which we want to talk to you. And in fact, I'm going to tell you the reason this question came up is because some of you know we're doing a retreat, a very exciting retreat in June at Carleton College in Minnesota. We're going to be doing 3 days of sessions on exactly how to make the transition to writing for a trade publisher as an academic. And I've had a bunch of people ask me, well, is this right for me if I don't quite know what I'm doing yet? And the answer is, hell yes, this is right for you if you don't quite know what you're doing yet. In fact, this is particularly well suited for you if you're still a little bit on the fence or kind of just starting to think about putting your toe in the water with writing for trade. At the same time, is this only for people who are just starting out? No. I'll tell you, one of the things that really surprises me is I've had people come to we've only done a couple of these retreats so far. We did one at Vassar College and one at Santa Cruz. They were both really successful. We had tons of people. I'm actually keeping this one a little bit smaller this time because I want to give more personalized attention to people. But one of the things that really surprised me is that the people who come, I've had people come to these retreats who already have an agent and a trade deal, who have a major book deal with a large publisher, a 6-figure deal, and they came to these retreats. And at first, I'll be honest, at first I was like, why are you coming? You don't really need this. You already have a big book deal. You have an agent. You know what you're doing. And the truth is they actually got a lot out of it. They felt like at the end of the 3 days, their writing improved. The whole way they think about this changed. Their whole ethos, they started to understand the mentality of trade publishing differently. And it's helping them as they finish writing their manuscript. At the other end of the spectrum, I've had people who are like, I don't know. I've got like 5 different ideas. I'm not even sure I really want to do this, but I kind of want to learn more. And we've had everyone in between. People who are halfway through or who are in the middle, who have a draft proposal or who are talking to an agent or whatever. So my point is every single one of these people got a lot out of this retreat. And if you don't believe me, you can go to the website. You can see all the testimonials. I'm not making this up. I mean, people feel like they get a lot out of this. It's a transformative experience for them. At the end of the 3 days, they come away fundamentally understanding the process of writing for trade publishing better. And it's a much more economical way of doing it than doing a full coaching package with us. I'm just going to be very honest with you about that as well. It's about 1/3 of the price of doing a full individualized coaching package with us. So if you are thinking about it, if this is something that you are toying with, the time is now. I am saying this because, I run a business and I'm trying to sell you something. Yes, but that is not the only reason I'm saying that. I really mean this. It is, at the time of this recording, late April. May is around the corner. The retreat is intentionally at the beginning of June. And the reason for that is this is the time, as you know, this is the time of year where you suddenly have a bit of brain space. You have a little bit of a horizon where you can think. And if you're really one of the lucky ones, you have leave as well coming up in the fall semester, or maybe both semesters. So you have a nice little stretch of time ahead of you. This is exactly where you need to come and start to make a mentality shift. If you want to wait until you're halfway through the project, you can. But the truth is, if you're already going to be doing the research, even if you haven't written anything, just doing the research, you're going to be asking a certain set of questions that are academic. You're going to have certain academic stakes in mind. You're going to have an academic audience in mind, consciously or unconsciously. And I want to steer you away from that before it's too late. And again, it's never too late. We can always work with you. But in an ideal world, if you're even thinking about it, this is your time to act. And I'm not even talking yet about AI and whatever is coming for us over the next 5 years. The bigger picture in general, if you really want to do a trade book, get on with it now, because we don't know what the world's going to look like in the next few years. But on a more immediate basis, if you're asking yourself, when is the right time to think about this? There's no right or wrong time, but it's not too early. And one of the best ways to kind of dip your toe in the water is by coming to our retreat at Carleton College. It is 3 solid days of sessions on conceptualization of your ideas, understanding of the trade publishing industry, how to write a proposal, how to find an agent, how agents actually work, the nuts and bolts of actual book contracts and how the payouts systems work, how to write op-eds. We have a whole special coach on that. We have a Shark Tank event with 3 top agents, outstanding agents, including one of New York's top agents for nonfiction, serious nonfiction. You are going to have the opportunity in a small room with these people to pitch your ideas and see what they think. And I've had people actually sign with agents as a result of these Shark Tank events. It's an extraordinary 3 days. We do writing exercises where we help you think differently and write differently. We do a framing exercise on how to conceptualize your ideas differently. I can go on and on. I will be there. My colleague Clive Priddle will be there, who is an incredible guy, spent 20 years running public affairs books, one of the top people in New York for taking experts and helping them to publish serious nonfiction books for wider audiences. And on top of everything, we're keeping it very small. So a couple more days before the rates go up again. So get on it if you're interested. And we'll see you in Minnesota in June.